Thank you very much, Carlos. So, how from this policy background did we end up developing the DSS library? The main idea here is that the European Commission, beyond just setting the regulations, beyond just setting the rule, wants to give some hands-on practical assistance to those of us in Europe who want to use trust services, and in particular, of course, electronic signatures. The European Commission, during the Juncker Commission, has set a priority on the digital single market, and to support the digital single market, there is the Connecting Europe facility, a financing instrument that finances projects in a whole range of domains, including energy and transportation, but most important for us today, also the digital domain. The funding for the digital domain through the Connecting Europe facility is divided into funding for the European Commission and funding for the member states. And the funding for the European Commission is further subdivided into funding for services which are domain-specific. So, for example, there is in the justice domain the services provided through the e-justice portal, or, for example, in the consumer protection domain, the ODR, that is the online dispute resolution project, and so on. And there are more examples on the screen. To support these sector-specific projects, there are the so-called building blocks, and as the name implies, these building blocks are supposed to be the foundation of many other elements of the digital single market. There are, for example, the eID building block, which is targeted to promoting the use of electronic identification in Europe, e-invoicing to promote electronic invoicing, e-delivery to promote electronic exchange of files within Europe, e-translation promoting the automated translation between European languages, and of course the eSignature building block supporting the use of electronic signatures and more widely the use of trust services within Europe. And it is within this building block that the DSS library was developed. Interesting to mention also is the funding for the member states. The funding for the member states is provided in the form of grants. These grants are dispersed to the member states' public authorities, but the private sector can also join in a consortium with the public sector to avail themselves of these grants. And some of these grants are in fact available to promote the use of DSS in Europe. So if you are interested in using DSS, this could be interesting for you to look at. These grants are not managed by either my Director General or Carlos' Director General. They are managed by the Innovation Networks Executive Agency, INEA, so I encourage you very much to visit their website and get more information. So within the eSignature building block, we provide a number of services to support electronic signatures in Europe. The most important of these, perhaps, is the publishing of the list of trusted lists, the one list to rule them all, which ties all the national member states' trusted lists on which you can find what service provider is qualified and which are not. To make it easier for the member states to manage these trusted lists, and incidentally as a nice side effect to make it easier for ourselves to manage the list of trusted lists, we have developed a tool, the TL Manager. The TL Manager is a tool with a very specialized audience. So earlier this year we have also developed the Trusted List Browser, which is targeted towards the European in the street who wants to learn of the contents on the trusted lists, in particular for the European industry to find a trust service provider near them. Finally, it's what has brought us all together here today, the eSignature building block, has developed the DSS open source library. The library is supposed to be used to be the core, the foundation for an application that allows for the creation, validation, and extension of electronic signatures and electronic seals, which are compliant with the eIDAS regulation. The original impetus for the creation of the DSS library is rooted in the eIDAS regulation. In particular, the eIDAS regulation sets a requirement upon member states that if they require any type of advanced electronic signature in a public service, that they must then also recognize all the advanced electronic signatures which are in a number of technical formats which are specified through secondary legislation. The secondary legislation came in the form of the Commission Implementing Decision 2015/1506, which pointed to the ETSI standards for a number of signature formats. The signature formats are XADES, PADES, CADES, and eSig. We'll not go into the details of these now, but it is important to note that XADES is a format for signing XML files, PADES is a format for signing PDF files, CADES is a format for signing binary files, so essentially any file, and eSig is a format for signing containers of files, so like signing a zip. This essentially puts DSS at the end of a cascade from the more general, more legal eIDAS regulation, which provides the legal framework, very, very broad, for the use of electronic signatures in Europe. Then pointing through secondary legislation to standards, which are defined by the standards bodies. These are already more detailed. They provide a more hands-on set of guidelines for you to actually start signing and sealing, and then from there all the way to actual usable code in the form of DSS, thus serving as a reference implementation, an example of how the eIDAS regulation and the standards can be translated into actual code, and in fact also be used as the core of an actual application. Related to this are the plug tests that are performed, that are delivered by ETSI, plug tests allowing for you, if you have developed an application for the use of electronic signatures, to see if your application in fact is interoperable with the applications of others in Europe. In 2018, my colleagues at ETSI have informed me that the schedule has not yet been finalized, but we expect, we hope, it is likely that there will be a plug test for eSignature validation around May in 2018. So we encourage you all very much to participate. We know that we will. Putting this all together, DSS aims to reach three main objectives. First of all, DSS aims to provide compliance with the eIDAS regulation and the related ETSI standards. Second, DSS aims to help you, if you are in the business of designing an application in which you want to use electronic signatures. DSS aims to make it so that you do not have to think about the different formats of electronic signatures. You do not have to think about what the eIDAS regulation looks like, what the standards look like. DSS will handle this for you. If, for example, you are developing a contract management system, then your field of expertise is contract management. You should be focused on actually making contract management easier for your users. You shouldn't have to deal with becoming an expert in electronic signatures. DSS will do that for you. Finally, in the development of DSS, we aim to be non-competitive with the market. We believe it's up to the market to create nice, usable, day-to-day, out-of-the-box solutions for electronic signing, electronic sealing. DSS aims to provide the basis for the market to do so. I will not say here whether I think we have reached those objectives or not. I will allow you to be the judge and jury of that. And to help you in determining this, I will call upon the first witness, Olivier Beret, who has actually worked on the development of DSS. Here is Olivier Beret.